This mutation is called Watch the Skies, and it is played on Void Launch. We have 3 mutators active. We have Missile Command, Orbital Strike, and we have Aggressive Deployment. So, let us have a look at Mr. Dehaka's Masteries. We have 30 points of Devour Healing, 29-1 split here into Primal Worm cooldown, Act Leader duration. There is a reason for this. This is not a mistake. There's some kind of weird breakpoint that is required, and we also have 30 points of Gene Mutation, Chance, Mastery, and Dehaka obviously going for the double Rock Slap Prestige. Dehaka jumps in, devours an Infestor, and then Zuehaka jumps in, and he's going to... And someone's going to make fun of me with the way I pronounce Zuehaka. I think it's Zuehaka or something like that, but whatever. So, why did I cast this game? I think this thing was... yeah. So, why did I cast this game? The reason why I casted this game is because Dehaka is one of the worst commanders for dealing with the Missile Command Mutator. Now, for those of you that are unfamiliar with Missile Command, these missiles spawn throughout the course of the map, and at first glance, they are not really much of a problem. You can think, oh, you just build a bunch of Spore Crawlers and everything is good. But those of you that have played this mutation will be very well aware that in later stages of the game, you will start to get point defense missiles accompanying the splitter missiles and the nukes. And point defense missiles will block projectile attacks, and projectile attacks are attacks such as these from the Primal Wardens, attacks from Vikings, basically the things where you can see a missile moving from the attacking unit to the missile, and they actually do not block hit scan attacks. So marine attacks, for example, they will not be blocked by this. And unfortunately for Dehaka, he doesn't really have very many good options when it comes to not only dealing with the point defense missiles, but also keeping his supply low. Because remember, every single one of Dehaka's structures actually costs supply. So whenever you build something, you're going to be charged supply for building that. So you actually have a hard limit as to how you can spend your resources. And in fact, Dehaka, I think, is one of the very few commanders that does not have a mineral dump, purely for that reason. This is the fact that his structures cost supply, and eventually you will supply camp and you will be unable to build anything. So there is a very high chance that when you are playing Dehaka, you are going to be floating usually minerals, and there's nothing that you can do to spend those minerals. It's just impossible. And that actually is also one of the reasons why Dehaka kind of struggles against this mutator. Soloing a Missile Command mutator, like doing a Missile Command mutator with Dehaka already is a really bad idea, but doing it solo is just crazy. It's madness. So this is actually why I casted this game, because I think it'll be really, really interesting to see that, you can play unfavored commanders and you will still be fine. So we do have our first aggressive deployment drop, and that spawned right on top of Dehaka, and Dehaka just jumped over and made all those Zerglings fly in the air. So Dehaka and Zuehaka also over here, and they are going to be dealing with this. I think because this game is a solo, there will also be aggressive deployment drops also for the ally that is non-existent. So the attack waves will be basically twice the size. So that attack wave will be moving over here, and eventually it'll move back. And speaking of point defense missiles, that is exactly what I'm talking about. That is the point defense missile, and it is very, very annoying, because what happens is the point defense missile accompanies the missile until it reaches its intended target. Because remember that the Missile Command Mutator, whenever a missile spawns, the missile is given a random structure of the player's base to attack, and it makes its way towards that structure. So once the missile actually gets to that structure, the point defense missile turns from a missile into a point defense drone. So it actually sits and lasts in your base until you get rid of it, which makes it even more annoying. So it doesn't even go away. The problems just do not go away once it's done. So Dehaka and his bro are going to be trying to push a little bit of harassment to Iman's forces here, but overall, just basically waiting for that shuttle to get into position. The next aggressive deployment drop has dropped over here. Dehaka already in position to deal with this. Now, one thing to note about aggressive deployment is that aggressive deployment will target a random army unit for the players. And when it targets a random army unit, it will drop the attack waves that will get stronger and stronger over the course of the mission. Now, there are a few things to note about aggressive deployment, is that if you have a unit that is excluded from aggressive deployment, so therefore you have no units that are available on the map that is a valid target for aggressive deployment, the aggressive deployment will drop in near your base. So it's always useful to have at least one unit that is a valid unit. Then the list of invalid units, I think they're available on the aggressive deployment section on Starcraft.coop.com. Basically, it comes down to the supply cost. If you have an army unit, if it has a weapon, it has a supply cost, then the aggressive deployment drop will pick that. It is a valid unit. There are some fringe cases. I cannot remember exactly what those fringe cases are right off the top of the head as I am casting this game, but I think the list is there on Starcraft.coop.com's mutator page. Now, there is also actually a glitch with aggressive deployment, which is something that you can do. This will require you to have an air unit, and it will require you and your ally to also do the same thing. So what you can actually do, so we had Glevig over there, by the way. Glevig was the one that actually cleared that shuttle wave, so that is what happened with that shuttle wave. But I want to finish talking about aggressive deployment because I think some people will want to know the little glitch that exists. If you position an air unit, and it is your only army unit, and if you position that air unit somewhere over unpathable terrain, then that unpathable terrain will actually cause the aggressive deployment mutator to glitch, and it will no longer drop a single unit for that spawn. So, if you are willing to play a hero solo on this mission for whatever reason, then one option that you have available to you is make an air unit and park it over the unpathable terrain on this map. And usually there's always some kind of unpathable terrain, and that will mean that your aggressive deployment drops will no longer drop. So the science vessel is going to be rescued. It looks like there is some orbital strikes coming up as well. So Dehaka actually in a really bad spot here. He's actually being body blocked by the Zerglings, does actually end up surviving there, which is very surprising. And that is basically the science vessel harass wave taken care of. More of our also getting used here to try and deal with this attack wave. There is a little bit more essence on the ground here, but Dehaka and Dehaka have to try and deal with the shuttle wave. There's a little bit of a corruption debuff casted on Dehaka over here, but it's not really too much of an issue. More of our Osos now jumping into the fray, and I think they should be able to clear this set of shuttle waves without any issues whatsoever. And now actually Morvar is in this position. Unfortunately, Morvar is going to end up timing out, so really nothing else to do over here. And Dehaka and Dehaka very conveniently in position for this next attack wave. Hashtag calculated, and now Dehaka will just basically jump in here and start to clear. Very nice devour on that infestor, and that is basically that cleared out. There is another harass wave that comes up. Again, the aggressive deployment drops are being really annoying, and you can see here exactly what Amtel was talking about. The Greater Primal Worm here not being very useful whatsoever, and additionally also now, you saw that little fat missile over there. You can have a look, you can pause the stream if you want, but the one issue with that missile is that it is a splitter missile, so when you kill it, it will actually split into two smaller missiles and deal damage to structures around it. And as you can see, this Greater Primal Worm is taking a little bit of a pounding, but because this Greater Primal Worm is a temporary unit, so it's not really much of an issue. But you can see here, Dehaka starting to transition from the swarm hosts, or the primal hosts, and into the creeper hosts here. So again, there are going to be a few more of these. I think the reason that he's going to be doing this is that he wants to be able to not only snipe the shuttles, he also wants to be able to deal with these things. These things will auto-attack, and they will end up clearing. But remember, like, this may seem like a very cool strategy, very fun strategy. Remember that you have nothing to deal with attack waves except your hero unit here. So that is also one thing to take into consideration. But these explosive creepers will be able to hold at least for the time being. But the splitter missiles are going to be still a problem. And once the nuclear missiles come out, we'll take a look. They should be able to still deal with it, but you can see over here, they're able to deal with pretty much everything here, and they are able to hold. But remember, again, there are no army units for Dehaka and Dehaka, and they have to try and hold on this separately. So, he actually noticed the aggressive deployment drop here. Unfortunately, there's still an aggressive deployment drop over here, but those explosive creepers will be able to take care of it. And now Glevig is in position, and Glevig will be able to fire incendiary acid right through the middle of that shuttle spawn, and those shuttles have actually taken a good chunk of damage, and now he's going to be able to clean up the rest of that with the help of Dehaka. And this way, Dehaka, all is good over here. Amon trying to target Glevic down. Glevic just does not care whatsoever, and that is that shuttle wave cleared out as well. So now there is an attack wave over here. Attack wave again, Glevic deep tunnels across, and he will be able to clear that wave out as well. So very good value for Glevic here. He has taken out the shuttle wave, and he has taken the attack wave as well. A little bit more here, and he also takes up the hybrid. So ultra value here for Glevic. Glevic was sitting at about 100 HP before he ends up timing out, so very efficient usage of Glevic over there. And now Dehaka and Dehaka just chilling over here, just waiting for the next wave to come up. And there is now the second bonus objective. And that sound can only mean one thing. Nuclear launches have been detected. So what is Dehaka going to do for this nuclear missile? So, and by the way, this is an actual nuke, so if it hits your base, it will nuke you. Do not assume that it is a tiny nuke. I remember streaming one day and I thought, oh, this can't be a full-size nuke. Nope, it's a full-size nuke. So be aware of that. So actually, those explosive creepers just make completely short work. There's a random guardian over here, and again, there are some air units as well that are harassing some of these explosive creepers. And Dehaka just noticed that that is a problem that needs to be addressed. Over here, he's going to end up walking over. Unfortunately, one of those explosive creepers do end up getting killed off. And over here is this shuttle going to end up dying. So they are making their way there, but there is also two shuttle waves here. So there's a greater primal worm that gets used just to try and stall this attack wave. So Dehaka jumps in. He's going to be able to kill off a good chunk of this attack wave. There is still actually a swarm host over here, and I think a little bit of detection is needed over there. Okay, there we go. That detection has been provided now, and that swarm host ends up going down. That science vessel now is safe over here. These shuttles now are going to start. What is Dehaka going to do over here? Okay, so we have Morvar. So Morvar will be able to clean this out without any issues. Over here, there is a greater primal worm that gets stasis by the hybrid. The hybrid is having none of that greater primal worm, and Morvar has to actually rush her way over to try and clear that. And actually, that greater primal worm did actually end up saving the. But yeah, there's no escape there. So that was actually cleared up as well by by greater primal worms. So very effective use there of the cooldowns, and that shuttle wave has been cleared out by Morvar as well. Another nuke is making its way here. Two nukes actually on the map. There are a good number of explosive creepers over here, so that is not really a problem, but the nuke is moving over here, but I'm not paying attention to how it's moving on the mini-map, and now there is another nuke over here as well, and that one is going to go as well to the main base. So yeah, a good number of explosive creepers they should be able to hold. These are the splitter missiles I was talking about. That splitter missile actually hit. I was trying to show you there. Yeah, you saw that? That was the little split I was talking about. This one is probably one of the scariest waves on this mission because you have the 3 shuttle waves, which come up with their own, each coming up with their own escort wave, and then you also have an attack wave that'll drop here, and that attack wave tends to merge with all 3 shuttles, and you kind of get smashed if you're not aware of what's coming your way. So Dehaka is going to be moving some of his creeper hosts over here. He's going to be using some of his explosive creepers to try and snipe these shuttles. I think he may have also used some of his creeper hosts to snipe the previous shuttle wave. Now I see what he's doing here. So that is the first out of 3 shuttle waves there. Another 2 shuttle waves are on the way. Dakran is going to spawn over here, and he's just basically just going to try and tank some of this damage, and these explosive creepers are going to be moving in. That is the second shuttle wave cleared, and that is the third shuttle wave cleared. He's basically just sniping these shuttle waves and then stalling with Dehaka and Dehaka. Eventually they are going to ramp up in power. They are still, see how they are still not maxed out, and that is actually one of the reasons why P3 Dehaka doesn't really work too well when people who are playing it do not know what they are doing, because you usually end up in a scenario like this, and usually it is just much better to stack your essence on a single Dehaka, and by that time you really don't need the other guy. But there is a very good reason to have these two. You just need more. You basically just need more meat on the mini-map. You need more meat on the map. So this is actually one of the reasons why P3 Dehaka does kind of work. You just need stuff here. Nuke actually does end up hitting this Primal Hive, and this Primal Hive just takes it like a boss. Unfortunately, the Extractor, not quite as lucky over there. Drones very upset, mourning their fallen Extractor brethren. and Dehaka and Dehaka now are ready to deal with this next shuttle wave. So all in all, really good there. And now we have a research vessel as well that is going to go for the final bonus objective here. I think Dehaka might be able to even get that. He has a bunch of explosive creepers already in position, and I don't think those things are going to get into... Is he actually going to be able to snipe those shells? There is a lot of junk over here. And he's actually going to run through. Unfortunately, he is not paying attention. He just runs those explosive creepers right in the middle of the base here. He is paying attention to a bunch of other things that are a little bit more terrifying, like the incoming nuke over here. And that nuke needs to be dealt with. That nuke needs to be dealt with, or it is going to nuke a lot of the explosive creepers. And unfortunately, that nuke does go off. And there is another nuke over here that does get killed off by the explosive creepers over here. Explosive creepers in the middle of the map are going to be having to deal with this next aggressive deployment drop. Devour on one of the hybrids. There's probably going to be another Devour also on the second hybrid just to get a little bit more splash damage. He may want to jump right into the middle of that attack wave and deal with that, but he might have his Devour on cooldown. Okay, there we go. There's another Devour over there. That research vessel is going to be saved. That attack wave has been dealt with as well. I'm zooming through some of the explosive creepers. This game is really difficult to cast because there is a lot of action going on in the game. And those tuna fish hybrids now are going to get cleared out by some more of the explosive creepers and some more fatalities on the explosive creepers on this map. Again, these broodlords are very upset with those creepers. Another one ends up biting the dust. And there's another one over here that might end up getting killed off. It's very low. It's seeing a very low HP. And now there's another nuke over here. So this nuke is going to get killed off at some point. Or maybe not. I lied. The nuke is not going to be getting killed off here. And where is he going to go? I think these explosive creepers will be able to clear this out. Dehaka, as you can see, he's flowing a little bit of gas, but not really that much. It doesn't have a lot to play around with. Okay, there we go. That is that nuke cleared up. There's still one more nuke on the map. Two more nukes on the map. One has just spawned, and that nuke gets cleared out as well. Okay, there is another nuke here as well. This is the land of nukes. This is the final wave of shuttles. So what is going to happen here? Is this nuke going to hit? It looks like this nuke is going to hit the Primal Hive, and that is the Primal Hive gone. And a lot of the drones have been nuked as well over here. The goal now for Dehaka, and this is exactly why Dehaka is like one of the worst commanders to play for this mutation. Do not play Dehaka unless you want to really torment yourself here. Some more orbital strikes hitting out these explosive creepers. Explosive creepers have sniped out the first of the 4 shuttle waves here, and these explosive creepers are pretty much all that Dehaka has right now. He is trying to make a few more. He's trying to keep his structures alive as well to try and make sure he does not end up losing the game. And now there is a lot of junk over here, and this is all of Amon's forces very upset here. And Hybrid Dominator is a detector, so those explosive creepers are going to end up going down. Dehaka ends up getting deep tunneled across here to try and keep him alive, and we have some more. Just a small handful of explosive creepers trying to go and hit these shuttles over here. That is the end of Dehaka's base, by the way, and you can see how quickly Dehaka just ends up getting wiped over here. Dehaka again running very low on HP. Lots of explosive creepers coming in here now, and they will end up sniping out that shuttle wave. I think Dehaka will have to try and get at least a few of these things because 2 more shuttles have escaped. I think there are 3 over here that need to be dealt with. So these explosive creepers are just gonna go in, and they just end up sniping out that last wave, and that is basically not all the shuttles saved, but not all the shuttles killed off, but look at the casualties over there. But that was a great game by Dehaka. That is GG.